So here's the latest post on Media Matters that I believe is meant to ruin Tucker, I guess. It's unclear what he's talking about. Just so you know, I don't know it any better than you do. He's clearly lamenting some liberal at Fox News who may have pronouns in their bio. Watch.
I was like, she's got a lot of liberals working over there. And, they see this as war. And we're the main force on the other side. And that's crazy. If you've got pronouns in your Twitter bio, you shouldn't work here because we can't trust you because you're on the other side. And she goes, well, who? And I said, I'm not going to name names because I don't know who did it. And I'm definitely not going to cast aspersions on someone unfairly. Just because you're liberal doesn't mean you did this. It does mean you shouldn't work here. And Roger would never put up with this shit. Why would you do that? Do you know what I mean? They see this as war. It's like, I'm not that. I'm an actual liberal. I'm totally fine being our makeup artist is like a screaming lefty. No, but I'm not that way, as you know, but they are that way. And I said, I'm not ashamed of anything I said.
You do not look like you recently had COVID. You look fresh-faced and healthy.
But do you know what I mean, Justin?
I know
it. If you've got that horrible guy who was just horrible, who was Judge Janine's guy. I couldn't. Yeah, that guy. He's like a screaming left-wing lunatic. Why does he work here? What? He totally dicked over his anchor, and then we expect he's not going to dick over the network? I don't have specific information on it, but I would. It's just. Yeah, it's crazy.
You're feeling angry, aren't you? You're feeling pissed off at Tucker for saying somebody who's so left and woke. That's really what he's objecting to. Somebody who's woke shouldn't be working for a show like his or, the Fox News channel. I have no problem with that whatsoever. He's not saying you can't work at Fox. That would be illegal to make a firing or a hiring decision based on that, though he's not in that position to hire and fire. But he's basically saying, why would you work here? This is not the ideological place for you. You're going to be unhappy. My whole life is spent railing against the woke. By the way, same. It's not that you're unhireable. You could come work here if you're a trans person. However, you're going to have to be okay with where I stand on this issue. You're going to have to listen to it all day long. And then you better not get any ideas about taping me or running out and making a stand based on the thing you signed up to do. Stu, your thoughts?
Yeah, that seems like a basic function of a workplace, right? You don't want to necessarily be fighting for everything you oppose. I know it would be very difficult for me to go to, let's say, a trash heap like Media Matters and work there, right. Mainly because I would question every day why I even existed. But I wouldn't want to be fighting to try to unfairly ruin people's livelihoods on the side of the argument that I like. What sense would that make? And of course, if you go to Media Matters, you're not going to find lots of people who are on the conservative side of that arrangement, despite the fact that they seem to be indicating they're opposed to that situation, right? The fact that someone who's mega woke is going to go to Fox is probably just not the place that they're going to enjoy their work, and also their employer is not going to enjoy it. And I'm with you on this, Megyn, in that it seems so completely inept. It's hard to believe that Fox is involved in these leaks. Most of these leaks, I think, have come to the side of where you'd like Tucker Carlson more after listening to them, realizing that maybe he is the exact same person behind the scenes that he is in front of the camera, which is not always the case in the media, as we know. I think,
and yet, who else would be leaking this? It's very clearly off of the Fox RDOM system. I worked there for many, many years, 13 years. You have an internal system. This is how they caught, remember the woman, I interviewed her, who leaked the tape of Amy Robach. She cut the tape. Yeah. She didn't leak the tape of Amy Robach saying, I had the Epstein story years ago. They buried it. And you could look at the system and figure out who cut it. The system shows you everything. You have to log in with your ID number. So there's no question that this was a Fox person. And they must know who the person is. Now the real question is, who did that person do it for? And then who was in charge of the clips after they were cut? I've espoused my beliefs based on my own dealings with Fox. And the other thing is, not only do I believe it was obviously, Fox, and I have said publicly, I think it was Irina Briganti who runs comms, who's got a long history of attacking talent. But let's look at, I'll put this one to you, Dave. Let's look at the first New York Times article that released the Dominion texts that Tucker had been involved in. that had been redacted for the litigation. So only Fox and Dominion had access to those. So it was one of those parties. And it also included 2 tapes that would wind up on Media Matters of Tucker like this, on camera but off air, but being taped. Now there's only one party that I just mentioned that would have access to both of those things, and it's not Dominion.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, it's a great point. And I feel like, at this point, we'll probably know the Supreme Court leaker before we know whoever's, doing this leaking. But,
maybe they'll get the Supreme Court marshal on the investigation of who's doing the Tucker leaks.
Could be the same person. I mean, maybe it's all Sonia Sotomayor. Who knows? I shouldn't have said that. I think Stu makes a great point, though, about this leaking. And I think it's why we're all confused as to why anybody would think that this makes Tucker look bad, is that what Tucker has and what really made him special, and the reason that he and Fox were able to create this unbelievably impactful TV show together, is that he's authentic. I mean, anybody who's like sort of spent time with him, I interviewed him for my book, and it's some of the most insightful stuff that's in my book. He is who he is, and that's kind of rare on TV. And Stu's right. I mean, this just shows it to you. It's absolutely baffling to me that anybody could think that this is damning at all. I mean, it's innocuous. It's very strange, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, what Fox and Tucker created together was something extremely special. And it really is a shame to see it end this way. I guess it's not unheard of, but it's sad.
Well, but I mean, it's more pernicious than that because it's clearly an active campaign to destroy. And word out of Carlson's camp to me today is they're extremely frustrated that Fox is clearly slow walking the negotiations to try to keep him under wraps as long as possible. They do not appear inclined to let him out of the non-compete at all. They're trying to shut everybody up with non-disparagement and non-competition requirements. So they want him to be quiet. They want him to be quiet about Fox. They want him to be quiet professionally. That includes Fox, his executive producer, who they also canned with no explanation, right? This is a guy who's got a family to support too, others to support. And so they're gone. And Fox is not negotiating in good faith now, as Tucker has been looking to his allies to step up the pressure on Fox. And I can tell you this, the pressure's working because we just got in Friday's numbers on the Fox News channel, and I've never seen anything so low. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. I've never seen numbers this low on Fox News, ever. And I joined Fox News in 2004 when they were being funded by the Christy Lane commercials, okay? There were some lean days. We were still number 1 back then, but that didn't say much because we weren't getting a lot of eyeballs on the channel. I'll give you an example. Okay, Tucker's last week on the Fox News channel, his show averaged 3 million in the overall, and they averaged almost 400,000 in the demo, 25 to 54, 377,000 to be exact. On Friday, the 8 p.m. show got, once again, he was averaging 3 million. It got 1.284. So we'll call it 1.3 million. From 3 million down to 1.3 million. And in the demo, again, let's call it 3.8, it was 377,000. So let's call it 380,000. They got 90,000.
Oh.
90. I've never seen, you're getting to the point, if you go below 50, you get what we call slashies. Remember, Abby? We used to laugh at the Morning Joe crew because they'd get slashies every day. We're like, these people are so self-important, they have fucking slashies. Anyway, they're looking at slashies potentially on the Fox News channel prime time. I realize it's Friday. Fridays are never strong. I'll get you Tucker's ratings on his last Friday. They were, I think, triple this. But still, 90, no. And by the way, they lost. They lost on Friday in the 8 p.m. to both MSNBC and CNN. You have to try hard to lose to CNN. The 9 and the 10 p.m. also lost to MSNBC. The 9 p.m. only went up to 100,000 in the demo. The 10 p.m. was back down to 94,000 in the demo. So what happens is they lose 8, they hemorrhage at 8, and then they never recover. The whole prime time is blown out, Stu.
That is a jaw-dropping number. It's hard to describe to people who aren't in this business what kind of number that is. I do a radio show every day with Glenn Beck, and people remember Glenn from his time at Fox News, and so much of this is so so familiar. But people don't really remember that before he was on Fox News, he did a little show over at CNN Headline News at 7 o'clock for a few years. We were doubling those numbers in the demo at CNN Headline News, not even regular CNN. And I mean, 90,000 in the demo is catastrophic. If you look back, and it's funny looking at the Dominion text that came out, they were panicking over a few people leaving to Newsmax for a while during the post-election aftermath. I can't even imagine what is going on over there. They must be running around panicking. And maybe that explains the sloppiness of this campaign, or this alleged campaign from people like Irina Briganti. And I will say alleged because I don't want negative things leaked about my children to their school newspaper. But I will say this is the type of campaign that looks terrible because they seem incredibly desperate. This is not just the number one cable news channel. This is the number one or number two overall cable channel, month after month after month for years and years and years and years. And they're turning out, audiences that are similar to fish tanks at pet stores right now. This is a real problem for them.
Sure, you can go to Brazil or Colombia and get some work done on your face. But why would you do that? You don't have to travel to look great. It is the final week of the Genucel Mother's Day sale, and that will keep you looking good and years younger right at home. Here's a real review from Genucel.com. Claire writes, I absolutely love Genucel. My skin feels so good, tighter, younger, with more even tone, and I only used it for a week. My advice for everyone, take a before picture. By the way, her husband Jim said he loved it too. Nothing works like Genucel because it's a family recipe for over 20 years now, being made by a compounding pharmacist in small batches, always safe, cruelty-free, and natural. Now go to Genucel.com/MK60 and save over 70% off Genucel's most popular package. That's all their best stuff during their Mother's Day sale. Every most popular package features their Ultra Retinol and Dark Spot Corrector. Don't wait. Go to Genucel.com/MK60, Genucel.com/MK60, and get a complimentary Spa Essentials box with every package order for only one more week. Get it while the getting's good. Plus, free upgrade to priority shipping. Genucel.com/MK. Genucel.com/MK60. Add that 60 on there for your discount. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.